I've lamented my original Best Buy where I started my collecting journey had gone the way just completely cutting their section down to nearly nothing a few years ago. But I had two more local stores just being solid.
Yeah.
Not great, but solid. One was solid, the other one was great. And then I went to the solid one recently, and they reduced their section down to one aisle. One aisle.
The hell are you supposed to do with one aisle?
Shelving.
What are you supposed to do with one aisle?
Then there's nothing, and
it's half of its Marvel movies.
And they have the goal to have empty spots on that aisle. It's like, where are you putting the movie?
Well, here we are back for another episode of Chasing Labels number 2. This is episode number 2. I am your host, Stephen Billings, and with me is my co-host, Andrew Cabral. Man, how you doing?
Doing well. We are back in the saddle again.
Once again, another copyright strike. Jeez.
I know. Once again, another copyright strike. There's going to be no monetization on this, but I do still expect my check in the mail.
Okay, well, I got you, man.
Oh, good. Gotta make sure that it goes through. Got bills to pay and movies to buy.
Yes, definitely. We got to make our money somewhere, but
gotta get
to buy these movies. But
very true.
Before we get into the episode, which we have a lot of announcements and a new list of things, we're going to talk about our. We both came up with lists of films we think need upgrades, Blu-ray upgrades, or any kind of upgrades. So that'll be fun, but that's later in the show. I do want to go ahead and say thanks to everybody that listened to our first episode. We got a great response. We're very happy that you guys are listening, and some people are sending some nice comments. We also want to shout out some people that have joined our Facebook group. We have a group for the show, and on that group we asked everybody to kind of put in their input on because our last episode we talked about some of our favorite releases in our collections. And so we asked everybody to kind of share with us some of their favorites. And right here we got Jonathan James, who's a friend, who put a list of films in his collection that he really loves. He had the Cinema of Ingmar Bergman, which is one that was on your list, Andrew.
It was indeed.
He has the Crash 4K that just released from Arrow, which is great. I literally have 3 releases from that movie that I'm going to have.
I was going to say, there are like 3 releases now.
Yeah.
We went from 0 to 3 in a year.
Yeah, I picked up this German release that's in a nice digibook, and then right after that, Arrow was like, hey, we're going to release a 4K, and I'm like, okay, cool. I guess I'll have to get that. And then Criterion was like, we're going to release it. I'm like, fuck. Okay, fine, I'll buy it again. But he also put a Hamlet. I guess I'm not sure. It says for Mr. Bungo. I'm not sure of that label, to be honest. Have you ever heard of that label?
I have not.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought he meant. Does he mean Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet?
I'm not sure which Hamlet it is. It just says Hamlet. I'm not sure. It didn't say what.
Yeah, Kenneth Branagh's or Laurence Olivier's Hamlet.
I don't know, but I would assume that's the label's name. So,
right.
But Brunal's the Essential Collection from Studio Canal, and then the Dawn of the Dead 4K Second Sight, which is one I have that's really awesome. Then you got Dan Allen, who's a friend of ours. He put in there his favorite release in his collection was the Columbia Classics box set, which is kind of it is from a major studio, but it is kind of like a boutique release. So you could kind of count that for our show.
Yeah, because it's a unique release, definitely.
Yeah, it's limited. It's in special packaging. They did do 4Ks for all these films. They're bigger releases, things like Gandhi and what's the baseball movie? Is
A League of Their Own.
League of Their Own's in there, and there's a few other ones. But yeah, it's a great set. It's not one that I decided to go after, but it's definitely a good set. Then you got Eric Junker, who put in some of his favorite releases are Twilight Time's The Fury.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
A Twilight Time reference.
Yeah. Rest in peace. I guess they're
It's
still
not
living.
quite dead.
They're still living, but they're not the same though. But
yeah, it's not the same.
And then Criterion's, I guess this was back when it came out on Laserdisc. I guess Criterion's RoboCop.
Oh no, there's a DVD.
Is there a DVD? Okay.
There's a DVD of Criterion's RoboCop.
Okay.
I almost bought it several times early on collecting because I would see it used at a bunch of used stores back when they existed. Yeah, it has an all silver or gray cover and just has RoboCop indented in it.
All right, and then he also said Blowout from Criterion, which is great. And then Alex Trevino put in his James Dean Ultimate Collection edition.
Oh, nice! Yeah, that big Warner Brothers collection. It's got Rebel Without a Cause, Giant, and East of Eden.
Yes,
all on Blu-ray. And it probably has some nice swag in there.
It does. It looks like a great booklet and some postcards and some things like that. And then he also put the recent Studio Canal's release of Breathless, which looks pretty nice too. I think that was a new 4K, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm pretty sure it was a 4K release. And then, forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Is it Michelle Canapel? I'm sorry. I'm bad with names. But they took a picture of their favorites. One of them was the Ingmar Bergman set. Then they have 8 Hours Don't Make a Day from Arrow Academy.
Isn't that the Reign of Werner Fassbender movie?
Yeah, it's like a limited series.
Yeah.
And then they got the Joseph von Sternberg set from Indicator.
Nice.
And they have the Eric Romer set from Arrow Academy, which is one I have. It's great. And then the Bela Tarr film, that Santandengo. I can't. Yeah.
Isn't that really
It's really long. It's like 7 hours long.
That movie's
I actually have that as well. I just picked up the Blu-ray that came out for it. I can't wait to spend a day watching that.
Yeah.
And then Derek Powers, our last here, said Arrow's Donnie Darko, Criterion's Rushmore, and Twilight Time's Mississippi Burning were some of his favorites. And he also brought up this kind of obscure edition of a set called Palm Pictures Director's Label series, which is not something I was familiar with, but we'll look into. But that's it from our comments from our group. We, like I said, appreciate your interactions, and we will continue to interact with you guys on here and bring it up on the show and do that kind of stuff. So moving on from that, we're going to start our show off this week with a couple little news tidbits, not necessarily announcements, but I guess you could say it's kind of announcements, but not in the sense of like releases or anything, but kind of pertaining to the labels. First off, we got news that, and this is something that's been hinted at for, I think, a few weeks now, and that's that Warner Archive Shop, Warner Archive Shop was going to close down, and we weren't sure what that meant for the future of Warner Archive.
Right.
And
so it wasn't even just Warner Archive Shop, it was all of WBShop.com.
Yeah.
So all of your t-shirts, your mugs, your everything from all their properties, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, DC Comics, whatever, all that stuff's all gone. And it was hinted at for a while, like Steven said. And as of March 31st, gone. The whole website gone instantly. Like tears and rain, gone. And it was it wasn't abrupt because they had announced it.
Yeah.
But it left a lot of people in the lurch, specifically people like me who had put in orders during the Warner Archive 4 for $44 sale, which we talked about 2 weeks ago on the show. My order still isn't here yet, and as of I checked on March 31st, it still hadn't even been fulfilled yet.
Yeah.
It still hadn't been. It was still unfulfilled, unprocessed, and for a lot of people that seemed to be the case. And it is now April 3rd as of this recording, and who knows what's going on. But what ended up happening is later that day on April 1st or April 2nd, all the people who have orders from the WB shop all got emails basically updating them on the situation. I mean, but it took like a day for them to do it.
Yeah.
It took them a while, and I was upset because it's like, you didn't think that people would want to know what's going on with their orders that have been in the ether for 2 weeks or
Yeah.
so. But yeah, so that's completely gone. But in its place, when it comes to Warner Archive, and this really pissed off a lot of people as well, there's now a Warner Archive store inside of Amazon.com.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
for
it's
people who don't like Amazon, this kind of pissed them off.
well, I mean, this is the thing is I think for people, they just I think for the most part wondering about the future of. I mean, I'm still wondering about the future of Warner Archive in general.
Yeah, me too.
But also, we do love that 4 for $44 sale, and they did say that this would maybe be the last one. So maybe with Amazon,
Obviously, yeah,
that we might not get any kind of sales like that anymore. I know Amazon a lot of times has cheaper prices. So maybe at the setting prices for these movies will be a little cheaper maybe, but we might not get to see any kind of sales like the 4 for $44 anymore.
yeah. I mean, I have no idea about the state of Warner Archive itself. I mean, there's been a lot of hubbub and just a lot of, speculation that it may eventually disappear. This could be the last calendar year for it. Maybe they'll just ride out the rest of the year. When it comes to releases, I don't know because they're still announcing stuff.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard and from what I understand is that many people who had worked at Warner Archive or for Warner Archive no longer have jobs because it doesn't exist anymore. And that seems to be the people who were running it and the people who were running like their social media and the other people that are probably working behind the scenes on it. So I don't know what it left in the state of production of Warner Archive discs, because for those of you who've been collecting these discs over the last several years, they've been really outstanding when it comes to the production of these discs, and just the amount of discs that have been produced have skyrocketed as well.
Yeah.
But the quality when it comes to the restorations and all that kind of stuff, is that going to take a hit as well? I don't really know. And I don't know if anyone really knows other than people who have contacts there or people who are, working there themselves.
Yeah.
But I hope it doesn't go away.
Well,
I really hope it doesn't.
What's interesting is it's the different strategies of these big, corporations, because somebody like Warner, I think they're going full in on their HBO Max, their streaming, and somebody like Paramount, who has for some reason, like we talked about last episode, went in on physical media label, making their own physical media label, and they also have a streaming service that they've kind of rebranded recently with Paramount Plus, but they don't have as great of a catalog as Warner, so maybe they think they need to somehow maximize their profits by putting physical media out versus just throwing it on streaming. I don't know.
Well, I mean, this doesn't really fall in the realm of what we want to talk about here, but they have their Paramount Presents line. And their Paramount Presents line is supposed to be like their quote-unquote like definitive versions of these films on Blu-ray. And I think they're up to about 18 releases now. And they've only started, I think, releasing these like late last year, like around August, September area, something like that. So they're still announcing those and releasing those, and they're not quite their quote unquote Warner Archive versions of their movies, because they're mostly their mainstream stuff. It's not a lot of their back catalog stuff. Coincidentally, they're releasing a lot of their back catalog stuff just through their name, Paramount itself. They're not giving it any type of special label or anything like that. Like they released Barefoot in the Park with Jane Fonda and Robert Redford, like through like just a regular Paramount release. I mean, it's like an $8 Paramount release, but it's still something.
Yeah.
And that's like an old like movie that's part of their catalog. So I don't know what they're doing in that regard. Only thing I hope is that these companies, whoever they are, they continue putting out their back catalog on Blu-ray, because a lot of their back catalog still hasn't seen the light of day.
Or at least share the licensing with companies that want to
with somebody else.
Yeah. Because a lot of these companies will just hold on to shit.
Forever in the hopes of
just because. And that's what I feel like maybe Warner is going to do. It's what they're trying to do. it started out with destroying Filmstruck, and then getting all what they wanted back, and then maybe they're gonna decide to stop worrying about physical media so much and put it all on their streaming service. And
yeah, we talked a little bit about it on Cinema Discovery Project when Warner Brothers and AT&T merged and become what they call Warner Media now.
Warner Media Group, yeah, something like that.
Or some nonsense like that, and what it would mean for the state of physical media and for the state of classic films in general. Like, how did it affect TCM and how would it affect Warner Archive? Well, we're kind of seeing how it's now affecting Warner Archive maybe a little bit. Yeah. We knew how it affect Filmstruck. It killed it, and kind of killed that whole Turner Classic Movies and Criterion team up and whatnot. And so I don't know. It kind of. Well, I'm worried about it. I'm worried about it, and what it's going to lead to, and what it is leading to, is panic buying a lot of these Warner Archive titles. I've seen people put in orders for Warner Archive titles where they're buying like 50 titles or something or 30 titles.
Hey, stop talking about me.
I know, damn it, Steve.
I don't put. That's not me. Not this time.
I mean, I wish I could drop. Whatever.
That's like $500. That's like $500, buddy.
Yeah, whatever 30 times 11 would have been.
But it's a lot. But because I bought 8 and it was $100. So
yeah, I bought 7 and it was 70. No, it ended up being 60 because there were some coupon codes floating around out there. That there was one that was 20% off that kind of didn't work, and there was one that was 15% off, which kind of helped a little bit.
But
so I ended up jumping on that.
Yeah, so
that's Warner Archive in its current state.
Yeah, a lot of
buy it while you can.
Yeah, a lot of consolidations going on. Also, consolidating is.
Here we go.
You see me where I'm going with this.
Nice transition.
Yeah. There's also another consolidation going on here with Arrow, and Arrow has decided to just kind of take the Arrow Video umbrella and just put all their films under just that umbrella. They're getting rid of Arrow Academy label, and now they're just going to start branding everything Arrow Video. And some people are getting a little upset about this. Not sure that there's a reason. I think Arrow's kind of went across the spectrum of different types of films, whether it be horror, cult, and even some like really good dramatic piece movies, and so I think that they just feel that they shouldn't have to keep trying to like bounce around where they release which label through. They're just going to put it all under one. I mean, yeah,
essentially. But basically, I mean, if people didn't know, Arrow Video, one of the biggest UK companies, a few years ago, they started a U.S. branch where they sometimes release some releases simultaneously here and there, depending on licensing rights and whatnot. But they also had their Arrow Academy line, which were films that are different than their regular Arrow releases. They were films that kind of were more like maybe in the classic film realm, maybe not, but more things like for example, Cinema Paradiso is an Arrow Academy release. Gosford Park, one of Robert Altman's last films. The Far Country, which was a Western with Jimmy Stewart. The Big Knife, which I think is a film noir from the 50s. The Major and the Minor, which is, a film from the 40s. They had a lot of, and they even had like foreign films like Seijun Suzuki's the Taisho trilogy.
I was going to say a lot of their box sets were Arrow Academy.
Yes, they were.
Yeah.
And they had a lot of great releases. So basically what they're going to do now is they're going to just not have the Arrow Academy label on their releases. But what they're also going to do, and this is where I think kind of bothers me a little bit because I'm a collector, is when they re-release some of the older Arrow Academy releases, like let's say one sells out and they got to make more. When they're making the new labels, they're not going to say Arrow Academy on them. So now it's going to cause people to go out and buy all the Arrow Academy releases they can right now, just so they can say Arrow Academy on it and not just say Arrow Video.
I mean, look, you guys should have bought them when they first came out. I mean, let's just be real here.
I mean, you can buy things whenever you want, but still, I just think that's annoying because it's a little like, obsessive compulsive things I have.
Once
with
again,
certain collecting.
it's an OCD thing with you.
It's an OCD. Yeah,
it's a
an
personal
OCD
thing, and it doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't bother me one slight bit. I think it's fine. I mean, so a few of these labels do little sub label things, like Kino has Kino Studio Classics, and
we'll get into that.
We'll get into that in a second. But like Scream Factory has Shout Factory, and
Shout Factory
is
the main one. Then Scream Factory,
well, whatever.
But Shout Factory also has Shout Select, which is another one. I mean, it's like Inception with some of these labels.
Yeah, for some reason they have these levels when they can just put them all under one banner. I don't know why, but whatever works for them. So
just keep giving us quality releases.
That's all I care about. That's all I ask. So I guess without further ado, we are gonna move into our announcements and acquisitions.
Okay,
we got some good announcements. This time around, we got Arrow's June announcements.
Their June slate.
Their June slate here. And I'm going to make sure I bring it up to make sure we get all the tasty bits. I know
all the goods.
That was gross. I know. Sorry I said that. But I know so far with me, I think I've already pre-ordered half of this slate here, which tells you that I'm probably broke. I'm not, but I'm like, once again, I'm glad my wife doesn't know how much I spend. But starting in June, the first thing I got here, they got a movie called The Stylist. I'm not familiar with this one. It's a relatively new film. I think it came out in the last few years or maybe last year. But it's getting a limited edition Blu-ray. Like I said, it's a pretty new movie, so it doesn't have any here, and it didn't have anything about new restorations. It's probably pretty new.
Yeah, it's probably gorgeous.
And then we got a film called Irozumi.
Irozumi? That's what it looks like to me. Yeah. It is a Yasuzo Masumura. That's what it looks like. And this is a movie that came out in 1966. I love the cover.
Yeah.
If you go to Arrow Video's Facebook page, you can see all of these. If you go to Blu-ray.com, you can see all these. On Blu-ray.com, they have all the breakdowns of these movies. The first one that Steven mentioned is a 2-disc limited edition. One is a Blu-ray disc, and the other is a CD that has the soundtrack. And The Stylist is a movie that apparently came out this year, so it's pretty new.
Yeah, I was gonna say I knew it was pretty new. I do have I do have I'm on the Arrow page. It's a lot more detailed.
Okay.
So then we got Major Dundee.
Yes.
Which is a 2-disc limited edition Blu-ray. It's got the extended version of the film and then also the theatrical version, which is exclusive to this edition. So if you want that theatrical version, you'll have to buy this limited edition.
Yeah, and for those of you, I don't mean to cut you off. For those of you out there, this is a Sam Peckinpah film, and this also has already had a Blu-ray release here in the States through Twilight Time, but that's been sold out for a while. And this here looks just packed to the brim with extras.
Yeah,
we're talking multiple commentaries, a new presentation from 4K scan. Like Steven said, 2 cuts of the movie. This thing,
the artwork is great,
packed, and the artwork looks really great. I'm assuming the limited edition is going to be like a big one of their thicker.
It's like a little bit. It's like kind of like your RoboCop, like a thicker box digipack.
That's
box.
What it looks like to me. Even though I can't see if there's like a poster or
there's a poster.
Booklet.
Yeah, there's a
Is there?
Yeah, it looks like a poster with some like postcards.
Okay.
Are in the inside. But like as you said, this is a Peckinpah film, so it's probably going to be violent, which I'm excited for. I also think this actually also had a release on a relatively new label. Imprint, I think, released this.
Oh.
Also, which their stuff is region free, but it's an Australian company, so the shipping to America is pretty rough.
It's expensive.
Yeah, it's bad. But I'm pretty sure that they released this also.
Yeah, and the Twilight Time release, for those of you who have it, did have both cuts of the film, but it looks like it didn't have the same amount of extras. Just eyeballing it. Yeah, so, but that's a Sam Peckinpah film from 1965. So that's earlier on in his career. That's pre-Wild Bunch, Sam Peckinpah. Okay. So that's before then. That's before his 70s work as well. Yeah, that's a great release. I really, really want that release. That comes out June 29th, so later June.
Yeah, I'll be definitely getting that. And the one I fought over about maybe getting and maybe not getting, but I ended up, of course, getting it because I have problems, is the 4K, the 4K of the bird with the crystal plumage.
Yes. Oh, excuse me while I gush.
Yeah.
So, I'm so happy for this release because I missed out on the limited edition Blu-ray version of this from a few years ago because I started collecting these limited editions late, so I missed out on a bunch that went out of print that sold out. So I have, I have the Cat of Nine Tails.
Yeah,
and I think that's the only one I have because and Steven has a couple that I want.
I have Deep Red. I have the limited.
Yeah, Deep Red's the one I wanted.
I do have this. I do have the standard of Cat of Nine Tails, and I have the standard of this movie. So that's why I decided to go ahead and get this because it's got the nicer packaging. It's gonna have posters. It's gonna have postcards.
It's got a new restoration.
Yeah, 4K
from the original
scan.
Camera negative.
Yeah,
and you can find those limited edition Arrow releases on like eBay and places like that, but they're gonna be rather expensive.
Yeah,
like they're to get Deep Red on eBay. Last time I checked, it's probably gonna be anywhere between $70 and $100.
Yeah,
somewhere around.
I probably spent $40 to $50 maybe.
Yeah, and they usually when they come out, like this. I was gonna say I thought this was. I don't know if this is up for pre-order yet.
I've already pre-ordered it. Yeah.
Oh, what am I saying?
It's on Arrow. You can go to Arrow site or where I go, which is Diabolic DVD, and that's where I pre-ordered mine.
And Diabolic has it on pre-order, not that expensive. So sometimes you can.
I think it was $43, which
is a great price for this.
Yeah.
Which is an amazing price for this. And sometimes you can luck out with pre-order prices being rather cheap, and then when it comes out, the price shoots back up.
Yeah,
which is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But go on, Steven. I keep cutting you off.
Well, you're good. No. I started off rough, so I got to the right site now. Now I get all the info in front of me. And then the last kind of, and this was a surprise to me, and this was probably definitely you would consider a Arrow Academy release if Arrow Academy was still around. But this is now under the Arrow Video label, and it is the Years of Lead, 5 classic Italian crime thrillers from 1973 to 1977. So this was an interesting surprise here. You got 4 films, 5 films in the set. You have 1975 Savage 3. You have 1976's Like Rabid Dogs. You have Colt 38 Special Squad from 1976 and 1977's Highway Racer, and then The Case is Happily Resolved, 1973. Great title.
Great titles. I don't know, when it says Years of Lead, I don't know if that's pronounced lead
or lead.
Or pronounced lead.
Maybe it's lead.
Because the idea of crime,
like bullets,
lead bullets.
Yeah, that's probably
but these are 5 films from 1970s Italian cinema, and just 1960s 70s Italian cinema is all about kind of like the political upheaval in Italy at the time, and so these films are all kind of in that range. They're called, it says this box set, I'm reading from Blu-ray.com, this box set gathers 5 films from the heyday of the quote-unquote Polizioteschi, the umbrella term used to describe the diverse body of films, and just goes through all of these films. And They all have high definition Blu-ray presentations, restored from the original camera negatives, including a brand new 2K restoration of Colt 38 Special Squad, which is exclusive to this release. And it looks like, yeah, there's all kind of interviews, a lot of interviews. Goodness gracious. And yeah, and booklet, and there's a booklet featuring some essays, and each individual release comes in its own case with reversible artwork. And yeah, it's a massively beautiful set of movies that I've never heard of.
Yeah,
but I really am interested in.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I will take chances on things, and this is something I've already pre-ordered, so it's coming, because this kind of reminds me of the set that was put out by Arrow some years back ago. I finally got a hold of it. It's the the Japanese director, Grave in Honor or something like that. What am I?
Oh my goodness!
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know that set. That set's out of print.
Well, I mean, it's the bigger set. I'm thinking of the other set's still in print, but for some reason I'm blanking on the name of the set. If I could get up, I would, but I can't.
Lazy.
I don't want to leave. I don't want to mess apart.
You don't want to break the fourth wall here.
But it kind of reminds me of that. But yeah, this looks like a very interesting set, and if you don't know, Arrow does have a sale going on right now. They have their Easter Carnage sale up to 70% off.
Yeah, but that was on. Which website was that?
It's on a few different ways. It's like Grindhouse, and then also I think you can go to like which is HMW, I think is the site, or there's a few sites that it's actually doing the sale with. So.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I found that box that you were talking about.
What is it?
It's. Let's see. It's Battle.
Yeah. Battle.
Without Honor.
Yeah. It's like a set of it's a series of movies.
And then I just lost it.
How did you lose it?
Because when you look up here we go. Found it. Yeah, Battles Without Honor and Humanity.
Yeah,
the complete collection.
Yeah, it kind of
is expensive as all heck to get.
Yeah, I had to go spend extra money to get it.
And you can buy. The irony is that you can buy each of these 6 movies for relatively cheap, but you don't get. You miss out on something from the box set. I think you miss out on a booklet or something.
I'm sure some of. I mean, it's just the there might even be some features that are not included, maybe, but
well, yeah, because the box itself was limited to only 2,500 copies, which is not a lot of copies.
Yeah,
not a lot of copies. But that Arrow sale that you were just talking about is it's called, what was it called? The Easter Carnage sale?
Yeah.
A great.
Yeah, it says it also includes Zavvi, Unobstructed View, and Grindhouse Video and HMV. All are part of that sale. So all Arrow stuff on them sites are part of the sale.
Nice. So, yeah, and it's got some decent prices depending on what you're looking for.
I'm sure a lot of things are sold out by now. It only goes to April 13th, so if you need, you should go look while there's things left.
Yeah, it is April 3rd right now, and then by that time this episode's up, you'll probably still have some time.
But that's it for Arrow. What do we got next? We got we do have Warner. Warner had an interesting thing pop up on April Fool's Day, which is not apparently a joke. So
yeah, they screwed around with people on April Fool's Day, because that was also the day that they announced their Amazon store. They announced it like midnight of April Fool's Day, and it's like, is this a joke or is this real? But then they also announced that they're going to release an edition of Drunken Master 2, the Jackie Chan film from 1994.
Yeah.
And apparently as of right now, it's real. It's not an April Fool's joke. But this is important to Steven, because Steven is buying all of the Jackie Chan movies.
Yeah, it is very important. Yeah, I if you don't follow like 88 Films and Eureka's, they've been putting out a string of Jackie Chan movies from all his Chinese films, his Hong Kong films, and I've been buying all of them. And you know, I have Drunken Master from Eureka, and you know, we've just been waiting to see who's going to put out Drunken Master 2, or The Legend of Drunken Master, which is what it's also called. And it looks like, I mean, look, I have a feeling one of these other labels are going to put it out still, but I mean, I'll buy Warner's if that's where I got to buy it from. I mean, I need it. I want it.
Gotta get it.
I got to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But not much info on that. Just it was an interesting kind of you know, pop up, which, you know, I kind of don't appreciate it. Though I appreciate that it could get released, I don't appreciate them releasing it on April Fool's Day, because now I don't know what to believe.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Also, come on, people. After the year that people have had, we should have got rid of April Fool's Day in general.
Yeah, all right. I mean, like,
come on now.
We should get upset about that still being a holiday. But all right. So I guess moving on, we have one Scream Factory release we want to talk about, and that's an early Oliver Stone film. The Hand is getting a re-release. You said it already had a Blu-ray before?
I believe it had, or maybe just a DVD. Let me look, because this was actually announced back in February. It looks like it's the first time here in the States
Okay.
we're getting The Hand. Yeah, it's being released here and Canada. I thought it had a Blu-ray release earlier, but no, I guess I was wrong. But yeah, it's getting a Blu-ray release, and and the Blu-ray release is coming with a new 2K restoration from an Interpositive. It's getting a new interview from Oliver Stone, new interview with actor Bruce McGill, new interview with actress Andrea Marcovici, new interview with producer Edward R. Pressman and actress Annie McEnroe Pressman, audio commentary with director Oliver Stone. I guess that may be a carryover from the DVD.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting just because it looks like it's part of the Scream Factory imprint, along with a couple of other titles here. Cool though, because yeah, that's another, like, I mean, that kind of works into the title of the show. You know, a movie that was on DVD but hadn't been available on Blu-ray yet.
Yeah.
And that's an early film from a prominent director, which I think is always cool.
I think
it's always a cool thing to have.
Well, I think it's also cool that it's kind of an Oliver Stone movie that's not. It's like pre-Oliver Stone, before he got super political.
Yeah, before we know Oliver Stone the way he is now.
Yeah.
Making, you know, political films and
war films.
Like pre-Platoon.
Yeah.
Born on the 4th of July.
Yeah, I mean, this is a movie about
JFK.
This is like kind of like a horror movie, isn't it? I've never seen it. It's like a horror.
Yeah, it's a horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's so I'm gonna order it. Why not?
Nice.
You know how you are about being complete. So I'm sure you'll
I gotta get it now because I don't even have the DVD.
Yeah,
and I honestly haven't bought the last couple of Oliver Stone stuff.
Well, Snowden.
I don't have his documentaries either.
Well, yeah. Well,
yeah, I don't have Snowden, and I don't have a couple of the documentaries that he did. And I don't know if it counts, but he did that whole like, what was, like, History of the United States according to Oliver Stone or something like that.
Okay.
That documentary from was it HBO a few years ago?
I don't know.
Can't remember. Anywho, let's move on.
Yeah.
Because we're moving on now to Kino Lorber releases. Because Kino Lorber doesn't, they don't release nice slates like a lot of these other companies. They just drop different titles every single day of the week, and you kind of just gotta find them.
And so when it comes to Kino with us, we're gonna pick out some highlights and share them with you.
Yeah.
And that's about it. We can't cover. We can't say everything. Yeah.
Some titles that are, I guess, you know, pertinent to us, or titles that we are going to probably pick up eventually.
Yeah.
And for me, this first one here is fascinating for me because both Steven and I have, I would say, lots of these movies by this actress, and this is a movie starring Marlene Dietrich, but both Steven and I have the von Sternberg and Dietrich sets from Criterion, and Steven has the Indicator set of Dietrich von Sternberg as well. But I also have the Kino release of Blue Angel, from 1930, which is supposedly was her first film, but apparently it's not, because this film here, titled The Woman One Longs For, which came out in 1929 and is a silent film, also stars Marlene Dietrich. And what is happening is that this is getting a release from Kino Lorber Classics regular label.
Yeah.
It's not coming from their Kino Lorber Studio Classics label. And it's one of those that you'll notice that has that really white cover.
Yeah.
That a lot of their stuff. And I'm assuming it's going to be like a slip box because some of their earlier Kino Classics have slip boxes. And this just comes with an audio commentary by film historian Galen Studiar. And it has the orchestral score by Pascal Schumacher in 5.1 surround or 2.0 stereo. But apparently this film was restored in 2012. So I don't know how good of a restoration it is, but I guess we'll find out when it comes out.
Yeah.
And the next release is something a little more modern. Well, by modern, I mean 20 years old. And this is a film called Poison, directed by one of my favorites in Todd Haynes.
Yes, yes.
And this is his second feature film. I thought it was his first, but it's his second feature film. And the special features include a new introduction by director Todd Haynes, a Sundance Q&A with Todd Haynes, producer Christine Vachon, and executive producer James Shamus for the 20th anniversary of the film's Grand Jury Prize. That's nice. Archival 1999 audio commentary by Haynes, Vachon, and star/editor James Lyons. Booklet essay, Last Address, which is a short film by Ira Sachs. And then original trailer, because we're still putting trailers on Blu-rays and DVD releases.
Yeah,
why?
I don't know why.
Why? Unless these trailers aren't available anyplace else.
I guess maybe they're thinking maybe one day like YouTube will shut down or something.
Yes, I guess, but they like to say, because there are different trailers from different countries, so sometimes they'll say, okay, this is the international trailer, or this is the U.S. trailer, or this is the teaser of whatever trailer.
It's part of it's probably just a completion of everything. It's almost like a standard thing now. Like they think it's like if you have it, put it in there, like still galleries and. I don't know why they're still putting still galleries on there, because they're just pictures, I guess, to just upload digital pictures. Really. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
But moving on to the next thing, is a movie. Hold on, I gotta scroll down now, because if you go to Kino Lorber's page on their Facebook, it's just a series of massive releases, and I can't find.
You looking for?
What am I looking for? I'm looking for the web.
It's on this. It's on Classics page.
Yeah, I'm on their Classics page. Is it far down?
It must.
Oh
be.
no, found it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's way down.
Yeah.
It's way down. So this is a film from 1947. This is a film that has a new commentary by professor and film scholar Jason A. Ney. And that's it. It has a theatrical trailer yet again.
Yeah.
Black and white, 87 minutes. This film looks like it stars Edmund O'Brien, Ella Raines, William Bendix, and one of my all-time favorites, Vincent Price.
Yes.
So
it's
gotta get it.
It's like an early film. It's a film noir. Like it
looks like a film noir. You see the poster.
Yeah, it's like an attorney. Like for some reason is like the bodyguard for some client. He pretends to be and then like during like them moving him somewhere, some guy gets murdered, and then it seems like an interesting plot. It intrigued me, but Vincent Price is the reason I will buy this. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to get as many Vincent Price films as I can.
Yeah.
So that's going to add to my collection. And I believe this film came out, a year after Laura or somewhere around there?
Somewhere around there, yeah.
And Vincent Price was in that film as well. But the next film is the Claudette Colbert film, which yet again I got to scroll all the way up because there's two Claudette Colbert film that they are releasing.
Well, Claudette Colbert and Fred McMurray are both in both of these movies.
They are, and Claudette Colbert is probably most famously for being in It Happened One Night, a film that I know Steven loves very passionately.
I love it.
And this also has an audio commentary by film historian Kat Ellinger, and theatrical trailer, and that's about it. And this is coming in July 20th, actually. It's called The Gilded Lily, and yeah, Fred MacMurray and Ray Milland are in it. And then the next film, which has also Claudette Colbert and Fred MacMurray, is The Bride Comes Home, with also Robert Young as well.
Yeah.
And yet again, an audio commentary and by author/film historian Lee Gambin, and that's it.
And they both came out in 1935, and they both are directed by Wesley Ruggles. So
Yes, they
so
are.
it's kind of a matchup there.
Let's see, didn't It Happen One Night also come out in that year, or was that the year before? Yep, the year before, 1934. So it'll go right.
So
this
is right off of her success of that movie.
Yes,
and so
for Oscar win, I believe.
Yeah, she won an Oscar. Well, she didn't even want to do that movie, which is funny.
Which is oddly enough. And then we have another movie here called Thunderbolt, which is always a great title for a movie.
Yeah, I mean, you could call so many movies Thunderbolt, and But every time I think of Thunderbolt, I think of Thunderball, the James Bond movie. Yeah,
but this is a film from 1929.
Yeah, it's a Josef von Sternberg movie.
Yes. Talk about connection to Marlene Dietrich that we just had. And this was one that he probably did. Yeah, he did it in 1929. So I want to say
it's a German film.
It's a German film.
It's a German silent film.
Yes, it's pre-code, proto-noir, kind of pre-noir, that mixes electrifying thrills and torrid romance. Now that's a word, torrid. This has an audio commentary by film critic Nick Pinkerton. That is it. But yeah, this is coming out July 20th as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks like it's getting both a Blu-ray. These are all getting both DVDs and Blu-ray releases. So whichever one you want, you get. Yeah. So that's that. Thunderbolt. Next is The Plainsman. And
this one's a Cecil B. DeMille film from 1936. It stars Gary Cooper and Jean Arthur.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I mean it's if you're into collecting the some films from the classic directors, I mean this would be a good one to get. Also,
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, of course,
and
I have to add it to my my Cecil B. DeMille section.
Yeah, and then I think the next in our notes is also from DeMille, if I'm not the Unconquered.
Yes, Unconquered, which I have on DVD, so it's going to be an upgrade for me. And I was actually wondering about this movie the other day when I was compiling the list for this specific episode.
Yeah.
I was wondering, hey, Unconquered doesn't have a Blu-ray release. Well, guess it does now.
Yeah.
But what is interesting is we know, as of right now, there's no information about the what type of restoration we're getting or what type of extras they have. I know the DVD has an introduction by the late Robert Osborne from TCM. I don't know if that's going to carry over or if there's some licensing thing with TCM or Warner Media or whoever owns TCM now. So who knows?
Yeah.
Who really knows? And then the last film here is The Accused, which they kind of announced simultaneously with Unconquered. And The Accused is a film also from... it's from 1949, starring Loretta Young, Robert Cummings, Wendell Corey, and this is getting a new 2K master. And I really am looking forward to getting this one as well, because it's also directed by William Dieterle, and his name pops up like every now and again when I'll just watch a random movie and it'll be directed by William Dieterle. He directed Duel in the Sun, which has a Kino release as well. I'll Be Seeing You, which has a Kino release as well.
He did.
He directed the Hunchback of Notre Dame, which has a regular Warner release. That was something they should have made it a Warner Archive release, but yeah,
cool. Well,
and that's all from Kino.
But
check Kino every day, because every day they've got new announcements.
Yeah, it's a little overwhelming. Kino can be a little overwhelming, but so that's going to be it for what we're going to talk about in the announcements, but we like to talk about some things that we've recently bought, some pickups, some acquisitions, and I got a few, and I think Andrew finally got something in. Maybe
I did.
You want to go ahead and talk about what you got?
I mean, speaking of Kino, might as well go from Kino to Kino. It's like
I guess
never ending. This might as well just be a Kino podcast.
Kino now.
Yeah, Kino now. Well, I think that's the name of like their streaming.
Yeah, it's their name. Yeah, we're not gonna do it, so it's okay.
No, I'm not gonna do it. But anywho, so Kino's having a sale. Steven talked about how he put it in order before last episode, and I just put it in order in this week, and it already came. I think I put it in order, I don't know, sometime earlier in the week, and it got here by Saturday. So I ended up getting 2 films by Douglas Sirk, 2 films by Billy Wilder, and the Cary Grant box set. So the 2 films by Douglas Sirk are All I Desire and There's Always Tomorrow. Both films star Barbara Stanwyck. Coincidentally, one film stars Fred MacMurray, so he's coming back again. And then the Billy Wilder films are Five Graves to Cairo, which stars Franchot Tone and Anne Baxter. And then A Foreign Affair, which stars Jean Arthur, Marlene Dietrich, and John Lund. And these are all from his 1940s catalog. So basically, I'm just like filling in my director gaps with this release here. And the Cary Grant box set has an interesting story to it because this came out back in September. I bought it from, actually I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered it and bought it from Amazon. The box set came damaged. I returned it, got another one, also came damaged, so I returned that one. So I'm like, I'm not going to order another one from these people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we've talked about it, the Kino box sets, the cardboard is sensitive.
Yeah, it's
any
sensitive.
Little bumps, this thing's going under.
It also, you get something from Amazon that it could be a thick package like that set, but they put it in a goddamn.
They put it in a bag.
Put
both of them in a bag.
I mean, it's.
Like a bubble envelope, but it might as well be a bag.
Yeah.
It really
put the fucking thing in a box. Put it in a box.
For the love of
God,
Jesus. And put it in a box, and don't put the bubble, the little bubble thing just on top. You got to put it on the sides because the rattling is what you're trying to prevent. But the Cary Grant collection box set comes with 3 films: Ladies Should Listen, Wedding Present, and Big Brown Eyes. And it's part of my never-ending quest to collect all of Cary Grant's films.
Your quest to get all Cary Grant's films is the same as my quest to get every Nicolas Cage film. So.
Yes, it is.
We have both honorable quests.
Both honorable, and they're right. I have several quests to get for certain actors and actresses where I want to get all of their films.
You want to do Paul Newman too, right? Paul Newman.
Yeah, Paul Newman is my favorite. So him, Ingrid Bergman, Cary Grant, Jimmy Stewart, Elizabeth Taylor's another one. Just certain Katharine Hepburn, Audrey Hepburn. Just so some of them.
A lot of classic
favorites.
Hollywood. Yeah.
A lot of old Hollywood, classic Hollywood people, which is really nice now, is that a lot of their movies are finally getting Blu-ray releases. So I'm just going to wait until they get them and not do what I normally do, which is be impatient, buy the DVD, and then a day later, the Blu-ray gets announced.
Yeah.
Like that happens to me constantly.
Yeah.
But Steven, what did you pick up on this fine?
Yeah, well, not just today.
Well,
but
I was going to say 2 weeks.
Yeah. During the last period between episodes, I had a few things come in. I want to go ahead and do a shout out to Brian Howell, who's in the Criterion Now group. He posted this film in there and gave it a rave review. So I was like, well, that looks interesting. I think I'll go and buy that. And it's a film called Witch Hunter. Witch Hammer. Witch Hammer, it's a Czech film, and it's put out by Second Run, and it's basically a film about the 17th century witch trials, and it looks interesting. Witch Hammer transforms the horrific tales of a notorious 17th century witch trial into a powerful allegory of life under totalitarian rule. So it looks like it's a very artfully made movie about killing witches. But
Nice.
he gave it a rave review, so I
Nice.
figured I would just take a chance on it and pick it up. So I got that. I also got something from Eureka, and this is another one of them Jackie Chan films. Actually, in this case, it's three films. It's called The Lucky Stars. It's a kind of a trilogy of films. They're kind of action comedies. The first movie is called Winners and Sinners. The second film is called The Lucky Stars, and the third film is called Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Stars. So they might.
I like the theme there.
Yeah, so they might sound like they're kids' films, which maybe they could be. I don't know. I haven't seen them yet, but it comes in a great package. It's got a good slip cover. It's kind of got that soft touch slip cover. And it comes in like, it's got a case that's got three spots for each disc. It's got a booklet. It's a very colorful set here. But I'm excited to check it out. I'm going to get all these Jackie Chan films, and then I'm going to spend a weekend just watching every one of them that I haven't seen. So I'm excited to crack this open eventually. And then the last one I got, this actually just came out, I think this past week, and it's a Spanish film called The Day of the Beast, and it's from a director. His name's Alex de la Iglesias, and this is like a horror comedy, a very dark comedy, and it's about a priest who basically figures out when the apocalypse is going to happen, and so he needs to find a way to meet Satan. So he decides the only way he can meet Satan is to commit as much sin as possible, and then I guess do the right spells to get, stop the end of the world, to get to Satan. So it's got a lot of very dark humor in it. I have seen this film, and it's a very good dark comedy. I can't wait to look at some of these special features in it. But it does have a 4K release. I decided to get the Blu-ray to save a little bit of money, and it looks great. But I bet you that 4K is probably a little crisper. But yeah, great film, and good pickup. Yeah, that's it. That's all for me. So
Nice international group of films.
Yeah. I didn't know American for me, sir. I went all international. And so from there, that's it for our acquisitions. And so now we get into our kind of big main topic here.
Ooh, yes.
Which our main discussion this week is going to be about films we feel need upgrades. There's a lot of films that have never gotten, Blu-ray upgrades. They've kind of like been lost in the DVD section. And then some films that have never really gotten proper, even DVD releases. I mean, there's some of them out there, but for the most part, I think these are things that really need Blu-ray upgrades. This is going to be kind of like an ongoing, like recurring topic, because there are so many titles that either need re-releases or need releases in general, and we searched high and low to make sure that none of these movies that we talk about have Blu-ray releases anywhere when we're talking about movies that need releases, because there are some surprises. There were movies that I thought didn't have any Blu-ray releases, and then all of a sudden they have Blu-ray releases from, Spain 2 years ago or something, or there's some release from Germany that happened in 2010, and you just didn't know about it. And there are movies that people are clamoring for Blu-ray releases here, and turns out there was a Blu-ray release a year ago in some foreign country for this movie. So it's weird. We were trying to stick to a strict rule of movies that have definitely not had Blu-ray releases.
Movies that are completely fresh.
Yeah, that really need to have an upgrade. And
come on now.
And some of these are surprising that I found. And like he said, we'll probably bring this subject back up in the future and do another, maybe list, maybe with some other people. But for now, we each have, I think, 5 that we...
Yeah, 5's a good number.
Yeah, that we can both pick up and kind of run through real quick. Do you want to start off?
Sure, why not? I'm just looking at one right here just to make sure. everyone knows Martin Scorsese, right?
I think.
I would
Yeah.
assume so. Well, there's a film that he did in the 90s starring one of Steven's favorite actors, Nicolas Cage,
Oh,
called
yes.
Bringing Out the Dead.
Yes.
This has no Blu-ray release anywhere. All it has, at least from my knowledge, is a DVD release. It's got 2 DVD releases, one from 20 years ago and one from 8 years ago. And it's like, okay. And it's like, all right. But I've got an old DVD release of it. That's it. But it's an underrated movie, I think. I think it deserves a Blu-ray release. I would say all of Scorsese's stuff needs a Blu-ray release. Initially, I was going to go with his movie After Hours, but it turns out After Hours does have a Blu-ray release somewhere. It has one from in Spain that came out last August. So After Hours has been teased for years on Criterion, so perhaps that'll happen eventually. But Bringing Out the Dead, starring Nicolas Cage, who is, it's just him. He's just an overworked, just kind of lucid, kind of losing his mind, which not a far stretch for Nicolas Cage. He's a rescue worker. He drives an ambulance, but he does it like in the late hours of the night.
Yeah.
So it's one of those like seedy night, like New York type of Scorsese films written by Paul Schrader. So
well, I mean, yeah, you could
it's
say
like it's like Taxi Driver,
Yeah.
but with a rescue worker.
yeah, with
played by Nicolas
like,
Cage.
with an EMT guy. Yeah, he just
Who's like slowly kind of just getting driven down by his job and just the stuff that he's going through. And it's a really good movie. I think it's really underrated.
Well, you know me. I just said that I'm collecting all Nicolas Cage movies, so I need this to have a Blu-ray.
Come on now.
I needed to complete my list of all his movies. So, but I do have the DVD, so I do technically have it still. But all right, cool. I'm gonna start out talking about a filmmaker that I'm still going through some of his stuff, and this was a good discovery that I recently found is a movie from Carl Franklin, and it's a movie called One False Move. It came out in 1992, and it stars Bill Paxton, Billy Bob Thornton, and it's kind of it's like kind of a cool like action movie, like it's a small town action movie. Kind of made me think of Last Man Standing that came out. I think it was the one with Schwarzenegger. Was it The Last Man or The Last Man Standing? Something like that. The Last Stand, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, isn't it called The Last Stand?
Maybe that's it. But it kind of
For some
reminds
reason,
me.
I kept thinking End of Days, but that's not it.
No,
That's not it.
that's a cool movie too, but we don't need to talk about that.
Last Stand.
Yeah, but kind of like that, where it's like a group of criminals are coming to town, and you have this one kind of like small town sheriff guy that's got to like stop the people. But in this case, it's a little different. Like this movie gets into a lot of like, deeper things about racial stuff. Because Bill Paxton plays the small town sheriff, and then these two FBI, I think they're FBI agents, come down. One of them's black, one of them's white, and then there's a little bit of a kind of like a between people that are from the city, people from the country, and then some racial stuff. People that live in the South kind of have a different view of race, and just stuff like that. And then you got Billy Bob Thornton, who is him, and there's another main actor that's really good too, Michael Beach. They're
oh wow, yeah,
he's in it too, and they're on their way to this town, and they kind of know they're on their way, and they're just waiting for him to show up, basically. So there's some downtime with the Bill Paxton and the FBI agents, and they kind of like are getting to know each other, and some stuff comes up. But it's a good kind of like good action movie that doesn't have a ton of action, but it's got a good message in there, and it was kind of a cool little underrated gem that I found. But it does not have a Blu-ray release. You can rent it, you can get a DVD, I think, somewhere, but that's it. So. And Carl Franklin's starting to get some of his stuff put out. I think Indicator put out, was it A Devil in a Blue Dress?
Yes, it
recently.
did.
So maybe some more Carl Franklin will come out soon. So
nice. Well, I'll stick with another kind. Was that a '90s film? I don't know.
Yeah, 92. Yeah.
Ooh, good, because I'm good transition. Because this movie I want to talk about is from '97, and it does not have a Blu-ray release. It has a couple of DVD releases, and this is Eve's Bayou.
Okay.
The film by Casey Lemons, and I brought this film up, and this film came to mind recently, is because I rewatched Candyman, and Casey Lemons is in that movie as an actress. And I was remembering, I was like, yeah, Eve's Bayou, which she directed several years later, doesn't have a Blu-ray release. And this is a film that stars Journey Smollett, Samuel L. Jackson's in the movie, and this is a film that's really solid.
Yeah.
It takes place talk about like a Southern Gothic type movie. It's dealing with kind of like voodoo magic and stuff like that, and it's all like told from the perspective of this young girl portrayed by Journey Smollett, who is kind of like she's in tune with a lot of magical stuff that's kind of happening. But it's like that dark, like Cajun voodoo magic. And it's a really good, solid movie from 97. And it's underrated, I would say. And I think it may be one of the I was gonna say, yeah, Casey Lemons didn't direct many things. She directed Eve's Bayou, which was her feature film, which is this. She directed Talk to Me, Black Nativity, and then that movie Harriet that came out a couple of years ago, which I believe is about Harriet Tubman. And that is it. Yeah, I remember Harriet because Cynthia Erivo got nominated for an Oscar, I think, for that movie as well. So she doesn't have much when it comes to her directorial filmography. A lot more when it comes to acting. But I really like Eve's Bayou, and I think there's been a whole kind of revolution or revelation when it comes to women in film over the last couple of years, and kind of a bit of a renaissance when it comes to people discovering or just talking about women in film.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why not have this movie come out now? I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of DVD releases, a signature series release that also that contains the director's cut. So there's 2 cuts of the movie. It's put out by Lionsgate. So I don't know if Lionsgate would put this out on Blu-ray. Kind of hope somebody else would get it.
Yeah.
I don't mind Lionsgate, but they're not the best when it comes to putting out older movies on Blu-ray and stuff like that.
Yeah. Cool. Well, speaking of female filmmakers, I got one for you.
Okay.
Lynn Ramsey.
Oh,
and her film
yes.
Ratcatcher.
I know. Come on.
I mean, yeah. Well, we think this will probably eventually get probably an upgrade through Criterion. They put out a DVD a while back, and I'm hoping that this will come back into the collection in Blu-ray form.
By a while back, you mean 2002?
I do mean a while back.
Goodness gracious!
I know.
That was 20 years ago, nearly.
Yeah, I know. But Lynn Ramsey, we've seen her continue to make really awesome movies. But this was her debut. And it's about a young kind of a coming of age movie, in kind of the most horrific way. Like 1973 Gaslow, a young boy kind of like, witnesses his one of his friends die, and he was kind of somewhat responsible, and it's there's the guilt of that he kind of like starts to deal with, and the environment he lives in is pretty rough. There's a lot of famine going on, a lot of political stuff going on, things with the cops, and it's a really harrowing kind of like, it's got its sweet moments, but it's kind of pretty dour movie.
Yeah, it's pretty depressing.
And Tommy Flanagan, we know him from Sons of Anarchy, but I'd never seen him in a movie, and he was really good in this. You know him as the guy with the big scar on his face. You see him in like
I've never seen Sons of Anarchy.
You never seen Sons of Anarchy? Well,
no,
he was
it's one of those shows I missed out on.
I think he was also in if I'm not mistaken, he's in Braveheart. He's one.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure he's in Braveheart. He's Morrison in Braveheart.
Yeah, I missed out. I mean, not to go off on TV land, but I mean, I missed out on a lot of those FX series from like the 2010s and the 2000s.
So you haven't seen Justified?
You haven't seen Justified, or Sons of Anarchy,
or The Shield. Have you seen The Shield?
I haven't seen The Shield either.
Dude, what are you doing?
I know all those FX series that I just
Well, you're too busy watching Blu-rays. It's fun.
That's true.
That's fine. I'm not gonna fault you for that. But no. Ratcatcher, really great debut from like we did an episode on Cinema Discovery Project about first films, and I think you brought this one up. I'm pretty sure. if we didn't
Perhaps.
if we
Don't
didn't
remember.
if we
Bringing
didn't
it up now.
we're bringing it up now. Great
It's a
debut film,
great movie.
and it's a film
Yeah.
that needs an upgrade on Blu-ray because
Yeah. It's 20 years. It's about time.
fucking time. Yeah.
I have to check. It's oh man, what a movie. All of her. What's interesting is that many of her stuff afterwards has gotten Blu-ray releases, but not Ratcatcher. I just want to. Ratcatcher may be out of print. Maybe Criterion doesn't have the rights anymore. I don't know. But they reacquire stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But shifting into complete different gears here, is another movie. Actually, maybe not even different gears here. Kind of similar gears. It's this movie called The Station Agent.
Okay.
This movie, 2003. A lot of people probably have no idea what the heck I'm talking about. It's a movie directed by Tom McCarthy, which many people are probably going to know more now because he directed the Oscar-winning film Spotlight.
Okay.
That was his film, but earlier on, I want to say this may be another first film from him. He's got more credits as an actor than he does as a director, which is interesting because I think he's a better director. But yeah, The Station Agent was his first film. Then he directed The Visitor, Win Win, The Cobbler, which less we talk about that, and then Spotlight. So he doesn't have much, but The Station Agent is this wonderful indie film starring Peter Dinklage, and Patricia Clarkson is in it, as well as Bobby Cannavale, and as well as Michelle Williams. And this is obviously an early role for Michelle Williams. This has got to be because you're more of a Dawson's Creek fan than I am. So she was still on Dawson's Creek at the time, or was Dawson's Creek ending?
I think the show ended around mid-2000s.
Yeah. So it's kind of that Dawson's Creek era Michelle Williams. Actually, yeah. So Dawson's Creek ended in 2003.
Okay.
So this was around that time. I've always been a big fan of Michelle Williams. I think she's one of the best actresses out there. She's kind of amazing. It's only a matter of time before she wins an Oscar or something. But this film, basically Peter Dinklage he's kind of a loner. He's kind of all by himself. His only friend in the world dies and I think leaves him like this train station or something like that. And he just goes to like this rural like New Jersey town and he just meets these people. It's a very slice of life existential film. And Michelle Williams, I think, is working at the local library or something like that. It's been years since I've seen this movie.
Yeah.
But I have the DVD. I bought it on a whim used at a movie stop store like 10 years ago. Or something like that, early 2010s. And I was just like, how does nobody seen this movie? But all these actors have now gone on to be much more famous than they were when they made this film. Peter Dinklage is huge now. Bobby Cannavale, people know who he is. Michelle Williams, people know who she is. Even Tom McCarthy's won an Oscar. So
yeah,
it's one of those early hidden gems from these people.
Awesome.
I just love this movie. So check it out if you can.
Definitely.
Everyone out there.
I will. Right now it's just me and you, so yeah.
Yeah, I know. I know. I mean, when this drops, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I know. All right, cool. So you know me, I'm gonna have every chance I can to bring up one of my favorite filmmakers, Satyajit Ray.
Nice.
And I could have picked many movies that I haven't seen everything because there really isn't a lot of great restorations of a lot of his movies. But one of the ones I have seen doesn't have any kind of release that I know of, and maybe Criterion will put out hopefully a 100-year box set because it'll be his 100th birthday this year, and maybe this will be in that set. And it's a movie called Distant Thunder from 1973, and this is a film that stars kind of one of his regular actors. If I'm trying to pronounce this right, Soumitra Chatterjee, who is, was in like the second and third Apu movies. He played Apu, and he's played in many of his other films. And so this is a movie about like there was like food shortages in India, there was like a lot of famine. So I think this is partially historical. But basically the main character goes off to like the bigger cities to try to find ways to get money to buy food for his village, but then the prices of food go up and basically people starve to death. It's very harrowing movie, and it's about how the main character has to decide to either help provide for the community or provide for his family. And it's a very, intense kind of situation that he puts his character in, and it's a good movie. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but it's a movie that I mean, any of his movies I want to see on Blu-ray, because we don't have enough of his movies on Blu-ray. But this is one that I really enjoyed, and I would like to see a release. So, yeah,
very nice. So we've each done 3 apiece.
Yes.
Okay, just trying to keep track. So my 4th one, and these are in no particular order in terms of watts. None at all. But this next film here is also a film from the early 2000s, and this is American Splendor.
Cool.
Which stars Paul Giamatti. And this is technically a comic book movie.
Yes.
It also came out in 2003. Don't ask me why. I just happened to choose 2003 movies back to back. This film is like quasi-biopic, also documentary style. It's a unique film. It's directed by Cherise Springer Berman and Robert Puccini. So like I said, starring Paul Giamatti, but also it's an odd film. But it all is about the comic book writer Harvey Pekar, portrayed by Paul Giamatti, but you also get instances where the real Harvey Pekar is featured in the film as well, as himself. And that's when kind of like documentary and narrative film kind of smash together in this unique take on the biopic. It's like a comedy, it's a drama, but you just get inside of this kind of regular, quirky, like everyman Harvey Pekar, and he's such a unique character and real life person. And that's what the most unique part is about it, is that this is who the guy is. None of these like quirks or anything were like embellished. It's just who he was. And he created a really famous comic book called American Splendor, as well as some other comic books. And it's just all about him. And it's a really like good, unique film that you don't see much about. And Harvey Pekar was someone who created a lot of like adult like underground comics in the 80s, I think, or something like that. And yeah, just all about his life. And it's really unique and just really fascinating film. But when it comes to home video or home releases, all we have is an old DVD release.
Yeah.
There's been nothing else.
I think I have it. I think I have the DVD.
Yeah, I have it too. And it's just been around forever. I want to say, the DVD release came out in 2004 when the movie came out. And it has since gotten a DVD re-release through Warner Archive, actually, in 2013. So that is it.
So basically, we're probably waiting on Warner to put it back out.
I'm assuming it would be a Warner Archive release, because they put out, because it's through HBO, so and that's part of Warner Brothers. Yeah. So that makes sense. But American Splendor.
Cool. All right, I got an interesting find here. One I was like really surprised did not have a Blu-ray release, because it's from the director William Wyler, and I feel like a lot of his stuff is out, but this one isn't. And it's from 1955, The Desperate Hours. And this one stars, once again, another reason why I don't know how it doesn't have a release, is stars Humphrey Bogart. And he's one of the most popular actors of his time. And you'd think everything that he's in would be out, and it's not. It's got a DVD, but
from 2003.
Yeah,
goodness gracious.
And but no, it and it also stars Frederick March and Arthur Kennedy and some other people. But basically, this is another one of them instances. It kind of reminded me of what's the film he did? Santa Madre.
Oh, the
The
Treasure
Treasure
of
of Santa
Sierra
Madre.
Madre.
Yeah, where
Yeah.
he plays kind of a different type of character. Bogart does, and this is where he plays a criminal in this movie, where him and two other convicts escape from prison and kind of hide out in this family's house and kind of terrorize them. You know, they don't know if they're going to live or they're going to die, and they're not really sure what their plans are. They keep saying that they're waiting for somebody to pick them up, but they never show up, and so the family's trying to figure out whether they need to try to escape or whatever. So it's and during the whole instance, Bogart's going through changes himself about whether what he's doing is worth it or not, and it's a really good film. And the presentation of what I saw, I had to rent this film. It was in pretty good condition, but maybe could have used a little bit cleaning up, but it looked good. So this just needs to be put on disc. And so I don't know what they're waiting on. It's a good film. It's a really good film. So I plead with Warner, please, get this out.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised myself. Yeah, it was Humphrey Bogart's last quote unquote tough guy role.
Yeah.
Because he started out his career playing playing heavies or just these tough guys.
Yeah.
So that's why it's kind of a callback to his early days. I mean, I'm all for it. Give me every Humphrey Bogart film in Blu-ray, please, all of them. Because I think this must have been one of his last films because he died, I would say, he died in 1957.
Oh, yeah.
So this is The Harder They Fall is his last film, and The Desperate Hours is his second to last film.
There you go. Yeah.
And I don't even think The Harder They Fall. Hold on, let me check. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't even think The Harder They Fall.
Hey, don't use that's like a sixth film in your list. You can't do that.
No, it has a it's the sixth film. It has a French release on Blu-ray.
Okay, so good. Okay, good. Yeah. Don't waste
so
one. Don't waste
I'm not
one.
spoiling anything. But come on, if they can get it there, we should be able to get it here.
Yeah, I know, right? But Desperate Hours is great, and it needs a Blu-ray, and get on it.
No, come on now. So, I think this is my final film. Is this number 5?
This is it.
Am I getting tired? I'm getting winded. And this is, I guess I saved the best for last, or at least my favorite for last. No surprise here. It is a Cary Grant film, and it is Arsenic and Old Lace. It's directed by Frank Capra. This came out in 1942, and this is a screwball comedy, if you will. A dark screwball comedy. Because I love this movie, starring Cary Grant, but also had Priscilla Lane, who I think is an underrated actress. She was in several films back in the day. She was in Hitchcock's Saboteur, which is a film I've watched many, many times. And basically, Cary Grant is about to get married to Priscilla Lane, but he goes to visit his aunts, who I believe raised him or whatever, to tell him about the engagement and all this kind of stuff. And he has these two old kind of baddie aunts, and it turns out they're also serial murderers. And they basically poison strangers and bury them in the basement. And it's and it sounds morbid and grotesque, and it is, but it's also hilarious. Absolutely hilarious, because as the film goes along, Cary Grant just gets more and more unhinged to the point where he's just running around the screen just at his wit's end about what's going on.
Yeah.
I love this movie, and it is a crime that this movie doesn't have a Blu-ray release anywhere, let alone here in the US in Region A land. All it has is a DVD release, which I have, and Steven, I'm not sure if you have it.
No.
The original DVD came out in 2000. 2000, the original DVD release came out, and then they re-released it in 2010, and just I think it was that terrible, shitty DVD eco packaging.
Yeah, God.
Where it's got it's either got the holes in it or the indentations. I don't know, but it's been part of TCM greatest classics, legends collections from Cary Grant, best of Warner Brothers collections, stuff Cary Grant collections in general, but no Blu-ray release at all. And yet again, this is Warner Brothers Prime Warner Archive. Put it out, please. Put out this. I want it. I want it now.
Oh yes. It seems like we're really calling out Warner Archive in our.
I know. Come on, before things, whatever's going on, before things go under, just give me more Cary Grant, please.
All right, that's a good one. My last one, and this was another surprise to me. I was like, man, how can this not have a Blu-ray? Especially after what I watched looked like it was in pretty good condition, also, and just needs a little cleaning up and put on Blu-ray, and that's. A movie from Sidney Lumet. And, Sidney Lumet did a lot of films, and we seem to get a lot of his stuff on Blu-ray, but for some reason this one hasn't. And this also stars Sean Connery. So how's this not out on Blu-ray? It's called The Hill from 1965. And this is I guess you could say it's a war film, more of a dramatic piece about these prisoners and they're prisoners of their own people. This is a military prison in North Africa, set in World War II. And these are like, soldiers that tried to like defect and everything. They hit their own, commanding officers or something. So they're sent to this kind of like prison to kind of put them back into shape. And one of them prisoners is Sean Connery, and he's kind of notorious for punching out, I think, one of his commanding officers, and so they really want to break him hard, and so they kind of single him out a lot too. But this also stars Ozzie Davis, and he's really great in the film too. And but this is a fantastic movie about breaking the establishment. It's beautifully photographed. It's one of the best Lumet directed films I've seen. So I just don't and it's in black and white, and I don't understand how it doesn't have a Blu-ray. It's kind of weird to me. It's Sean Connery.
Yeah, no, all Sidney Lumet movies should have the best releases. I mean, if you can keep re-releasing Dog Day Afternoon with the same exact transfer, you can give us some newer Sidney Lumet films, please.
Yeah, I mean, and we just, unfortunately, we did just lose Sean Connery, and I just,
yes, he did.
I feel like we need to be getting all his movies out, and this may be his best performance I've seen. I mean, it's very, very good performance. So please, whoever will put this out now, please.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of Sidney Lumet stuff on Blu-ray over the years through several labels. So hopefully this is one of them eventually. Yeah, he's one of my favorites. One of my all-time favorites.
Definitely. All right. Well, that's a few films that we feel need upgrades in our collections, and maybe the physical media gods will hear us and put the seed in somebody's head and get it done. But this is where we leave you. That's it for episode 2 of Chasing Labels. Where can we find you, Andrew?
You can find me on Twitter at Cabzilla06, as well as my YouTube channel, Cabzilla Productions.
And you can find me on Facebook, Stephen Billings. You can find me on Instagram at Chasing Labels 16. You can also find me on Letterboxd at Chasing Labels. You can find the audio for this podcast on Podbean or on Apple Podcasts. Thank you once again for listening, and hey, keep on buying them movies.
I know I will.